There's many things we can do the moment we reach max level in the Burning Crusade, and those I'll share in this video. The first thing you should do is to head to your class trainer and learn all the new spell ranks. At level 70, every class will also unlock a new spell, such as Seed of Corruption as a Warlock. Those of you with plenty of gold should head to Shadowmoon Valley and learn the different flying skills. Alliance can find a trainer right next to where we're also landing if you're using the Flight Master. This is also the same case as Horde, you just gotta run over here and speak to this orc. The price for the normal skill is going to be 800, and you need to purchase this in order to be able to purchase Epic Flying Skill, which is 5000 gold. Then you will of course also need to buy a mount. It's 200 gold for the epic version and 100 for the normal. If you haven't already done the quest that allows you to choose between the two factions, Scryers or Aldor, then make sure to head to this destination in Shepherd City. If you can't find the NPC on the bridge, well, then it can be found at this location instead. Next, you want to head to the middle of Shepherd City to hand it in. There will be a follow-up from Khadgar, and you gotta follow his servant for around 10 minutes. After those 10 minutes, you are able to choose between either the Aldor or the Scryers. Does it matter what faction you decide to help? Definitely, as each faction has their different shoulder enchants. As you can see, they're not exactly the same, so this is one reason why you might choose either the Aldor or Scryers. Another thing to be aware of is that each faction has their own quartermaster, and these quartermasters are not selling the same loot, which is why you gotta be careful before you decide to help one faction over another. What I would also like to highlight is that the moment you have decided to help a faction, you will unlock new quests in Shadowmoon Valley and Netherstorm, and the rewards from those quests are going to be nowhere the same. The next thing you should do is to open up your reputation tab and see what factions you have got to either honored or revered, yeah, maybe even exalted. By being honored or revered with the different factions, you can purchase yourself rare items, hidden chance, and a new thing in Anniversary, purchasable in Phase 1, PvP items, just by reaching honored with the different factions. I know these are mainly going to be for PvP, but then again, as a fresh level 70 character, it might actually be an upgrade if you're for example already using a green item. Most of these items also comes with mini sockets, making them a bit better for PvE, as you could always be gemming more hit, expertise, or whatever stat you need. In case there's an epic item you would like to acquire, well, then you just gotta continue farming dungeons or quests in that zone to get the reputation you need. I mainly prioritize questing as I'm looking for a group or trying to fill my own party for a dungeon, simply to be as efficient as possible. To be honest, then questing isn't a bad thing to do, especially in higher level zones, where we can get some decent rare items that will help you get into your first raid a lot quicker. Before I move on to the next topic, if you wish to gear up as quickly as possible, then I would also recommend you to watch my Burning Crusade gear guide. You can find this in the description below this video. It might be tempting to just farm dungeons for reputation and gear, but if you wish to be as efficient as possible, then you should head in front of Karazhan and start the Karazhan Attunement quest. This is going to be a long quest chain where there will be many steps to do, including heading into dungeons to obtain different fragments. So instead of doing these dungeons without the Karazhan Attunement, then you should be doing them at the exact same time. If you would like to know about all the different attunements in the game, well, then you could install the add-on Attune. This is an easy way for you to track what steps you have already done and what other things you will need to do in order to obtain the different keys or get attuned for a new raid. Obtaining these keys is going to be a useful thing, as it increases your chance of being invited into a dungeon because many players are too lazy to get these keys themselves. As a rogue, you could also be leveling up your lockpicking to 350, as it allows you to break these doors. Be aware that every player will need to get attuned for the different raids, such as Karazhan, but doing these attunements isn't going to be a bad thing. Many of the dungeons you will need to do for Karazhan will also grant you quests where there's going to be guaranteed rewards. And by the way, those of you who wouldn't like to install the Attune add-on could instead be following my attunement guides. Those can either be found on my channel or in the description. You should also consider farming gold, and when you quest at max level, you are being rewarded with a lot of additional gold. Even lower level outland quests from Hellfire and Sangomarsh. The gold you can then spend on new upgrades on the auction house. Epics might be a bit too expensive, therefore I will show you some useful rare items. The benefit of buying these items is that they will help you when you're going to progress in dungeons, as it's going to make it easier and quicker, simply because your character's performance is being increased. The first item I prioritize buying is going to be a weapon, as it will increase my kill speed. Amazing when you're questing in the open world, so even though you might have spent a bit of gold on a new upgrade, then you will quickly also be able to complete those quests and return the gold you have just spent. Those of you who has got plenty of gold could also buy the 22 slot bags from Harris Pelton in Shadward City. At this point, you should also consider start leveling up your professions if you haven't already done so. You can use gather professions to make gold, or you can simply craft different rare and epic items. Those will be absolutely insane in phase 1, and most of them either going to be your pre-raid biz or your biz until tier 5. You can also use your crafting professions for gold making. For example, as a leather worker, craft the cleft hoof set, amazing for a feral tank who would like to do dungeons and raids as quickly as possible. Now is also the perfect time to be leveling up your all characters. There's many people enjoying Burning Crusade, therefore it's going to be easy for you to find a dungeon group or just someone to quest with in the open world. When I'm questing, then I'm always following a leveling add-on, and the one I'm using right here I will of course leave in the description. But be aware, you shouldn't only be questing all the way up to max level. It will be important to do the different dungeons, their quests, and farm reputation in those, and of course your different attunements. However, there is a big change in Anniversary. The moment you are attuned on one character, it will be account-wide, so you will be attuned on all your old characters as well. Exactly why you could just be questing all the way up to max level. The leveling guide I'm using right here has a free version and a paid version. The paid version works all the way up to max level. It comes with a dungeon leveling guide. There's going to be reputation farms and many other things to do at level 70. Those of you who likes to PvP should head into Battlegrounds and start farming honor and battleground marks. Even as a PvE player, PvP is going to be a bit important, but I will get back to this in a moment. So when you're farming honor and BG marks, you can exchange this into level 70 rare and epic PvP items that provides resilience. This can also be some decent gear as a fresh level 70 character because of the sockets and probably rare items being better than the green items you have already equipped. Remember to also do your daily PvP quest where you gotta win a battleground to get additional honor and BG marks. You can also head to Terracore Forest. Horde and Alliance will go to 2 different destinations where you can pick up a daily quest telling you to capture a spirit tower in the zone. The moment you have captured a tower, you will complete the quest and you can head back to claim your honor. But what you also gotta be aware of is that if your faction is controlling all 5 towers, then you will receive a buff where you can get spirit shards into different dungeons in the zone. These spirit shards can be exchanged into an epic ring, and the price for a ring is going to be 50 shards. You can purchase these rings at a vendor right next to where we pick up the daily quest. Earlier I did mention you should start doing PvP as a PvE player. The reason being that in Burning Crusade we can do arenas, either as 2 vs 2, 3 vs 3, or 5 vs 5. When you're doing arenas every week, you will be rewarded with arena points. Arena points can be exchanged into epic PvP items. These are being pretty decent until you get your pre-raid biz for PvE. Nonetheless, at 1700 rating you can get gladiator weapons, and some of these are absolutely insane until you get epics from tier 4 raids. In fact, you only need to get to 1700 rating, and every team are starting at 1500. There will also be offhands and a throw you can buy without getting to 1700 rating. I've already mentioned that you should farm reputation through dungeons or quests, as you will be able to get to Revered and get yourself the opportunity to do dungeons on heroic mode. More difficult dungeons, but with way better loot. When you get to Revered, you can head to the different quartermasters and buy a key. But a new thing in Burning Crusade Anniversary is that when you get to Revered on a main character, you can unlock these heroic keys on all characters just by getting to friendly. In my opinion, such an amazing change, as it makes the game a lot more casual and all-friendly. By the time you start doing heroics, then you should also head to Shadward City and pick up the daily heroic quest. This will reward you with 2 Badge of Justice and some additional gold. In heroics we will be getting way better loot, and also the new currency Badge of Justice that you can exchange into epic items in the middle of Shadward City. Some of these will either be your pre-raid biz or going to be your best in slot throughout phase 1. Until we start doing tier 5 content. Another thing I would recommend you to do is to travel around and gather all the different Flight Master locations. The reason being that the next time you will have to go AFK, and if you gotta head to either a dungeon, a raid, or a farming spot, well, then you will be going to the destination without having to be at the computer. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, at level 70 you unlock a new spell at your class trainer. Exactly why you might also want to spend some time and work on your macros so they're working with your new spells. or overall just work on your macros, keybindings, and UI. You should also consider enchanting your character's gear. This will improve your performance and also increase the chance of you being invited into a party or a raid. If you enjoyed this video, then you will definitely also like my other Burning Crusade guides. Soon I'll be publishing many more you definitely don't want to miss, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified. As always, thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day. Peace.